Good afternoon, everybody. This is definitely an exciting day, and it's been a long day coming. Thank you very much for attending. We started this conversation regarding Josh almost 6 months ago, and it really started to heat up in November. But we are thrilled to announce Josh Sargent officially today as a member of Toronto FC. 15 months ago, Jason and I sat at the 2024 TFC end of the year press conference, and we talked at that particular time about a rebuild, and we also said everything was on the table. That rebuild began in earnest last July when we moved our two designated players after a lengthy discussion and negotiation with both of them, and that's when it really began. And after that, Jason and his team have done a remarkable job. As you look at a rebuild, the world of soccer is considerably different than the National Hockey League or the NBA. With all the global leagues and all the international players around the globe, if you take a look at the data, if you focus on the interactions with players individually like we've had, if you have a deep strategy, you can turn something around very quickly. TFC has parted ways with 14 players since that original day back in July when we moved the two designated players. Today, we will announce our 13th player, our 13th new player in Josh Sargent. Tomorrow, we will announce the 14th addition to the team with a prominent center back. And that remains, there's still 3 weeks left in the transfer window. We're not done yet. It might take some time for this team to gel, but we're confident, undeniably, that we're on the right track. And I think you will agree that the transfer windows that we have been and how active we've had, the rebuild we have taken very, very seriously. And our goal remains the same as that we talked about back in 2024 at that news conference, that our aspiration, that our goal, our promise to our supporters, to our fans, to everybody that's involved in TFC, that we want to contend for championships on an annual basis. Which brings me to Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent, you're going to love. He's a special guy. He's a special player, special skills, but what he really is a man that is going to fit the culture. He's going to make us better overnight. He's going to be a star in this city, a star with TFC, and although the process was a lengthy one, I'm going to tell you, my friend, it was worth it. And we couldn't be happier to have Josh Sargent as a member of TFC. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jason Hernandez for some comments. But I do want to thank our ownership. Our ownership has been with us as we have done this rebuild. They provided us with the tools and the ability to make the tough decisions, to negotiate and change the culture of this team back in July when we moved those designated players. And Jason Hernandez and his team, like I said, have used a brand new analytical tool that we built, combined with dealing with every player on a personal basis, getting to know them. And Josh is a perfect example of that. He's a character guy, and everyone that we've brought in is a character person. And we've done that very, very intentionally. So I'm excited about TFC. I really am. But I'm incredibly proud of Jason and the team and how they've rebuilt this squad. And with that, I'll pass it over to the most well-dressed man here today, Jason Hernandez.
And the crowd goes wild. Okay. No, thank you, Keith. It's a pleasure to see you all. I'd like to start reiterating what Keith had communicated around our ownership. Obviously, we all understand who work in the city and around these teams, the commitment and the ambition that our ownership has continuously provided and shown. I think particularly with TFC in mind, we understand that our club has always been on the forefront and the front foot of pushing the boundaries in MLS. I think our ownership group has always been committed to doing that year over year. And so I feel quite fortunate, and I think we all feel very grateful and appreciative of their continued belief in us and their support. And we're hopefully going to repay them in a big way with our results and delivering some really entertaining football. And so that's first things first. I think secondly, I want to just take a moment to thank everyone at MLSE and our club, specifically at Toronto FC, for what has been an incredible journey we've all been on in understanding and identifying where we were at a moment in time and putting a plan in place and working diligently to move ourselves in a direction we want to be in. I think all of that culminated, with a very busy transfer window, and I think really is a great point today to be, in front of you all and now introduce the newest designated player of Toronto FC, and Josh Sargent. And so, we certainly went through a similar process, maybe not similar, but a process in the summertime when we were able to bring Georgie on board and understanding what it would take to, what I would say, pry a club's best player from them in a moment of their season whereby, the player is quite prominent. That's not typically an easy or straightforward process, but we had one run of it this past summer, and obviously this past winter certainly took some different twists and turns. But I think, alongside what Keith would say, it certainly was well worth it. And so it was a mission, and I think one whereby probably everybody at the table would have hoped we could have formalized and gotten to this point earlier in time. But at the end of the day, I think we were completely steadfast in our understanding and our idea that Josh was the guy for us, and we were going to make sure that we were able to close the deal and really bring an integral part of our team and our club and our city and our community to be with us here. And so it's really a day, I would say, one of acknowledgement for folks and their hard work and their commitment to the project. It's a day to celebrate and acknowledge that now we have another integral piece for what we are anticipating to be a very exciting and a team that's going to put a lot of smiles on people's faces. So it's a great day. It's a great day for us, and I would say a great day for me. I feel now we can have some fun and introduce the player and focus on the work, which I think that's what we're all here to do. So with that, I don't know if I'll kick it to Josh, maybe.
Hello, everyone. I'm not going to be nearly as long as those guys, but just wanted to say thank you all for coming. Thank you, everyone, for making this possible. Very excited to be here, very excited to get started, and very happy to be a part of the TFC family now. And that's all.
I am also not going to be as wordy as the first two, but we're certainly thrilled. And I do want to take a moment to thank Jason and the scouting team for the work they've done, Jason, Keith, and ownership for the commitment that they've shown to go through the process to bring in a player of Josh's caliber. And I also want to thank Josh because a lot of this came down to his commitment to wanting to be here as well. And it's one thing to have, you look for good players, you look for good people, you look for people who want to be here as opposed to somebody who's just a mercenary looking for a paycheck. And when you find all three in one, it's pretty incredible. It really is. And we feel very fortunate and very excited to have someone of Josh's caliber here. We've spoken and talked about this rebuild. And as the pieces come together, we get more and more excited. And really, this is one that is a culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of research, of going into a lot of spending time watching. And Josh fits the bill for us in a lot of ways. He does just about everything that you need a forward to do. And for us, we're tremendously excited to integrate him in and have him be a part of us. So again, thank you to all three up here, and we look forward to what's to come.
Before Before we open the floor for any questions, please raise your hand, say your name, media organization, and we'll get the microphone to you. We're just going to have one question per reporter, and if time permits, we'll go back to you guys.
Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. First of all, Josh, welcome to Toronto to you and your family. Your journey here was long and somewhat complicated. Was there ever a time where you thought this move may not happen? And now that you have reached your destination, just your emotion on finally getting here?
Yeah, I'd say about every other day I wasn't sure if this was going to happen or not. A lot of twists and turns, and it was definitely a long process and a lot of emotion, behind it. But I think the biggest sense of relief that I'm finally here, finally got to see everybody in person. It's been a great, first few days here, just meeting everybody. Everybody's been so kind and helpful, and yeah, just very happy and excited to get started.
Hi, John Molinaro. Josh, welcome to Toronto. By all accounts, you had a great deal of success in England with Norwich, and even re-signed there 2 years ago before your original deal expired. So I'm just wondering, what led to the breakdown in the relationship? Why did you want to come here? And it seemed like you had a very good thing there in Norwich.
Yeah, I think, things were going very well in Norwich. I was happy there, but, my family had been there for a very long time over in Europe. We've been gone for a while. We've started a family, and I think the thought of, getting a bit closer to home got more and more appealing. And when, Toronto specifically reached out and started talking about their plans and, their goals to get this team successful and to winning ways again, it got me very excited. And that's exactly why I'm here today.
James Grossi, TorontoFC.ca. Josh, another question for you. You've spoken about that plan that was presented to you, that vision that was put in front of you. What was it about that caught your attention, and more so, what do you want to achieve here with Toronto FC?
Yeah, I think, like I said, them wanting to get back to winning ways, I think there's clear backing by the ownership that, they want to get things going and get us playing good soccer again, get us, winning games. That's exactly what I hope I can, help do while I'm here. I think we got to take it, game by game, and I think look at it that way rather than, look to the future. So, yeah, I'm going to do the best I can, work as hard as I can every single day, and hopefully help achieve those things.
Joshua Cloak, The Athletic. Question for Robin.
Oh,
hey, Robin.
Hey, Josh.
When you had conversations with Jason about the player, what made it so necessary to get the player? Obviously, the club, the organization spent a lot of money, but maybe more from a tactical perspective, why do you think Josh is so integral, critical to this rebuild?
It's a little bit of what I said before, which is I think Josh can do everything that you need a forward to do. You have some that can hold the ball up. You have some that can combine. You have some that are just purely goal scorers. You have some that defend really well. And like I said, when you get one that incorporates all of those things, it almost seemed too good to be true. And when we got into the conversation about Josh and I really started looking at Josh very closely, I was thinking, okay, he checks this box. He checks this box. He checks this box. He checks this box. I'm going, Jason, get it done. Get it done. But it's really about the fact that not only what he can do on the field, but as I got to know him and his character, I feel like he exemplifies exactly what we are trying to be and what we're trying to produce. So when you put all of that together, for us, it became a no-brainer. And we had a lot of forwards that we were looking at. And eventually, it was unanimous. Everyone just wanted to settle on this. And it was a long process, but we never gave up on it because that's how much we wanted to get him.
Charlesville, MLSsoccer.com. This one is for Keith and Jason. If you could, you've talked about culture a little bit. You talked about the analytical process that led you here. It seems like the model maybe for TFC is changing, not the investment level, but the way in which the funds are invested. Could you speak on this sort of macro process?
Yeah, thanks. I'll speak to a little bit. I would say, if we just talk about our most recent history, obviously we were in a model whereby, we had what I would say a pretty comprehensive salary structure. So, select players absorbing a lot of dollars in that way. I think, as far as what we're trying to do and where we're trying to be within the league, we no longer want to see ourselves as, call it, the number one salary spend year over year, as far as how it looks like, in a player compensation way, but how we're going to continue to invest in different parts of the roster, whether that's the DP space or the U22 space. I think, obviously it's not the story of today, but how we're investing in our academy space and our second team space and the different vehicles we're utilizing to try to bring players through. I would say there has always been, and I understand there will always be, a level of commitment, ambition, and resourcing from our ownership group. The question I think now for us is how efficient are we being with those dollars aligned to a strategy, and where does that leave us as far as our colleagues and our contemporaries in the league? I think it's probably not too hard to see we're working in different ways and we're investing in different ways, and I think specifically how the league is incredibly dynamic and changing. We have some pretty big changes coming up as far as the league goes, and how we're going to continue to evolve during that, right? And how that actually affects how we invest and how we resource the team. So I think being adaptable and continuing to evolve as the league evolves will be an important part of what we're doing.
I think one of the advantages that TFC has is the strength of MLSE. And when I talk about the data, we have a proprietary data tool that we've created, that we use now for the Raptors. We now have turned that over and are using data far more with TFC. We built this roster with a combination of both. Like I said, human interaction, but data has led us to almost every decision that we have made. And it is detailed data that I believe is probably leading edge in the league. And that is the advantage that TFC has, being part of a real strong entity like MLSE.
Josh, Matthew Schnee with TSN. Clearly, we can see the value that Toronto FC has put in you, but what do you hope this club, what kind of platform do you hope it provides you for you to stake your claim on the U.S. Men's World Cup roster?
Yeah, I think, I've been asked that a couple times already, and I think it's more of me trying to focus on, what I'm doing here. And again, I know it's a boring answer, but just take it kind of one step at a time. I think, whenever you do well at your club level, that puts you in a better position to get with national teams. So it's exactly what I'm hoping for here. I hope to, get going right away, start scoring goals, and hopefully that puts me in a good position with the national team.
Hey Josh, Brendan Dunlop, Canadian Soccer Daily. Welcome to Toronto. This club has a history of star American players, including Josie Altidore, who was a superstar scoring goals in this city. Have you spoken with him? And when you think about Toronto FC, is he one of the first faces that comes to mind?
Yeah, of course. I think you think about, those good times where, like Bradley and Josie, Seba playing here. I mean, there were good times, but I also think, we're kind of in a new era at the moment. Everybody's focusing on the players we have at the moment. I think there's good quality, and hopefully I can create a very good new chapter here in TFC. Yeah.
Hi, Josh. Alwyn McGill from Star Soccer Review, Caribbean Stars. With the coach checking all the boxes and you being signed to bring some productivity to the team, did you have the opportunity to actually look into where you would be utilized the most and how you can produce in that position?
Hopefully striker.
Well, he's not going to play center back, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I hope striker. Hopefully, it's the best position to score goals. So.
Dan Riccio with the Nation Network. Jason, this ends up being one of the highest transfer fees paid in MLS history. How did you come to that valuation, and how do you expect Josh to bring return on investment?
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a very layered question. I think one, certainly as far as MLS goes, well, let me even go a little further back. One, I think Toronto FC has always been who we are, and we need to be who we are in this world, right? And so I'm very fortunate, a gentleman that we all know quite well, a guy, Tim Bezbatchenko, who brought me on board as a player a lifetime ago, was, the guy behind multiple big acquisitions when we talk about Michael Bradley or Jermaine Defoe or Seba or whomever. That, inevitably Toronto, you got to be who you are in this world. And what I would say is, I do have a respect for certainly what has happened as far as the MLS landscape is concerned. But when you talk about football is a global game, and in the global market, we're paying what strikers get paid. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we have, well, I would say at the time when we began talking to Josh, he was 25. He's 26 now. But call it a 26-year-old. Striker who is really just scratching the surface of his prime years, who's scored in, the Bundesliga and for his national team and the Premier League and the Championship. And so I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a player that has all of those things on paper and doesn't cost something without a 2 in front. So essentially, if you want to invest in the striker position and have all of these things and have this level of pedigree and certainty, and then you talk about not just Josh the player, but Josh the person, yeah, that comes with a certain valuation. And so at the end of the day, I respect certainly what some clubs have paid or not paid in MLS. With respect, we consider ourselves more than just an MLS club. We want to be and hope to be competing in tournaments all around North America, and hopefully one day in some of the bigger tournaments that clubs can play for. And so we align ourselves with what's happening in the world. And so I would imagine some of Josh's contemporaries at the position are going to be in that range of acquisition wherever you look, whether that's 6 months ago or 6 months from now.
A question for Keith, if I can, and just to follow up on Dan's question. Josh is obviously a talented player who, as you've all mentioned, is also a character who's going to be a big character for this team. But at the end of the day, it is still a lot of money when you take in the transfer fee and his wages. And this club is.
But you don't know his wages.
Well, rough. I have a general idea.
Okay.
When you put those numbers together, I mean, we're 8 months out of letting the Italians go. So I wonder why go this route again? Why not take a more economical approach as to spending big like this?
Well, I think he's great value. I think he's great value in every possible way. We want to contend. We want to win a championship. And we believe Josh is the answer. So that's the reason.
Question for Keith. Keith, last week you wrote to Maple Leafs season ticket holders saying that you would do whatever it takes to turn this team around. Could you be specific and outline exactly what you think needs to happen with the Maple Leafs to turn it around, and what you will do as an ownership group to turn things around?
Jason?
Josh, let me tell you a little something about my plan. No, just kidding.
We're here to talk about TFC today and to welcome Josh Sargent to Toronto. There will be a time that I will address the media on the Leafs, but today is not that day. TFC.
Any other questions here before we go online? Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you. Ryan Tolmich from Goal. This one's for Josh and Jason. One of the words that got thrown out by a few of you there is uncertainty, and you've all kind of been living in that for the last few weeks and months as you've tried to put this all together. Now that it is certain and you have this done, and Josh, you could look ahead to knowing when your next game is, and Jason, you could look ahead to knowing what your next signing has to be to build this team. What is that like? You know, what is it like to now have this finally behind you and have a little certainty ahead of you?
I'll get started. I would say, thank you for the question. I would say when I first saw Josh, I don't know that I've hugged, someone other than my wife like that in a long time. A real embrace, just because certainly there's been so much time and energy committed to getting this done, and the fact that it is done is certainly what I would say a relief for us and a bit of a final, page in the chapter that we close and now opening the new chapter. And so certainly I think, I'll speak for myself. There are every single player that we're looking to recruit and bring on board and have them join our mission is always in and of itself unique. And when finally it comes to a culmination and you reach kind of the finish line, there is a sense of relief such that now everyone can put it to the side and focus on what we're all here to do, which is now working on the next thing. And so I know Josh certainly is very excited to join his team, get going, playing games, and helping us build something really special for myself and our group on the other side. Focusing on, call it, what is going to be the next way in which we're going to help improve the team, evaluating how the team is coming together, what are still some needs, how do we continue to tweak and plan and strategize on improvement. So I would say the sense of relief and closure is fantastic because we all want to keep the first thing or the main thing, which is the work. And now we can focus our attention on the other side of it, which is the continuous chase for improvement and success.
For me, I think, again, just big sense of relief that it's finally over, and now I can just focus on playing soccer again. It's been a while. Just excited to get going again. Excited to, get to know the guys all a bit more. Get to know them on and off the pitch as well. And yeah, again, just really looking forward to playing again.